Once upon a time, high on a mountain peak, there stood an abandoned, ancient monastery. It had been empty for years, but sometimes strange lights would flicker through its windows, and whispers could be heard coming from inside. Children who ventured near it claimed to feel a cold wind surrounding them. One day, a brave group of kids decided to go and uncover the curse of the monastery. The boldest of them was 10-year-old Arda. Together with his friends Mert, and Alper, they set out in the evening towards the mysterious building. The monastery stood ominously between towering cliffs. Its door was rusted from years of neglect, but the children made their way through a narrow path along the riverbank and approached the dark world within. As the door suddenly creaked open, a cold gust of wind swept inside, sending chills down their spines. Inside, the monastery seemed frozen in time. The walls were covered in faded frescoes, and broken stones littered the floor. An old clock hung on the wall, ticking steadily, but it had stopped long ago. It was as if time itself had paused here, leaving only fear behind. "We should leave quickly," Mert said, his hands trembling. But Arda was determined. "This place is so interesting. We need to find something," he urged, walking ahead. Just then, from the depths of the monastery, a sound echoed. At first, they thought it was just the wind, but then the sounds grew clearer, whispers, and then laughter. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath them, and a large door creaked open right in front of them. They entered the room and found themselves in a long corridor. Arda, Mert, and Alper huddled together, their fear growing with every step they took. They pushed open a door to a small chamber. It was filled with strange furniture, a few old chairs, a table, and a large black rug in the center of the room. In the middle of the rug was an ancient book. Arda picked up the book. Its cover was made of black leather, adorned with strange symbols. Inside, the pages were filled with ancient, unreadable writing, but one page caught his attention. It told the story of a monk who had disappeared many years ago, and how he had spread a terrible curse across the monastery. Suddenly, the lights went out. Darkness consumed the room. The children could no longer see anything. Then, from the black void, a scream pierced the air. Ys collapsed to the ground, clutching her head and screaming in terror. "Let's get out of here, right now," Alper shouted in panic. But it was too late. The doors had disappeared, and the walls around them seemed to close in. They were trapped. Then, another door creaked open, pulling the children inside. They found themselves in a different room, but this one was even more sinister. It looked like an old house, filled with eerie furniture, and old chest, dark mirrors, and a massive wardrobe. Ys, shaking with fear, dared to open the chest. Suddenly, something leapt out. The children froze in place, horrified. Inside the chest was an old doll, but this doll's eyes were the exact same as Arda's. For a moment, everything seemed to freeze. Then they realized the truth. The monastery was a gateway to a cursed world, a place where fears became real, where lost souls were trapped. The doll suddenly moved. Arda stepped back, but the doll crawled toward him and whispered, "You will never leave." In that moment, the house around them was no longer real. It was an illusion, a trap designed to imprison their minds in a world of terror. They had entered a cursed space where they would remain forever, just as many others had before them. And in the haunted house, the lost children's voices echoed in whispers for years to come.